Joining me now for more on this is former Secret Service agent and Republican candidate for Senate in Maryland, Dan Bongino, and from the American Enterprise Institute, Michael Rubin. He's joining us from Washington, D.C. Am I crazy? The Saturday before 9/11,
right?
This network airs a video that we all had to know, put in the context of a host looking to stir up tensions. This host is known for his anti-Semitic and anti-Christian views. He puts this video out, no warning from the State Department, no extra security measures, and look what happens.
Right. Well, there's only two possible solutions. Either this was the worst threat assessment done by completely incompetent people in the history of gathering intelligence, or secondly, the threat assessment was accurate and was ignored. And I think a valid question is, was it ignored for political reasons? These are valid concerns. I'm not making accusations. I don't have the data. No one from the State Department is talking right now. But was this threat assessment accurate? And in an effort to cover near an election for the president right now, did they not want to evacuate the consulate? In an effort not to look like a failure in Libya? These are valid questions. Someone has to answer them. But I agree with you. This is sheer incompetence. I spent 12 years of my life doing this.
To me, this almost seems, I'm no security expert. I'm no security expert, but it almost seems to me that on the anniversary of 9/11, with this video airing on state-run TV, you might say to the embassy, you know what, just keep an eye out.
Right. Lockdown, tell everyone to stay home. It's absurd to me. I know on the ground when we were getting live time action reports, you know, we would cancel trips if we had to. But for this, again, I'm really worried that there were political concerns that played in, because we've seen this before with this administration, politics before security, and we've also seen a history of secrecy. I mean, let's be honest, Fast and Furious, we still haven't seen the documents. I mean, that's a whole different issue.
Yeah, totally.
But you get my point. The history of secrecy from an administration, by the way, that pledged to a new degree of openness, I mean, it's almost laughable if it didn't result in the death of a patriot. I mean, this is serious. The man was killed. This is a really awful situation. And the fact that everybody seems to be running for the hills and ignoring it, jumping to Las Vegas for a fundraiser, having some freak show fundraiser with Beyonce right now. Where's the leadership, folks? Where's the leadership now? These are real questions that should be answered right now. And for the press to try to spin this to be about Mitt Romney's campaign is an absolute absurdity, and someone needs to call it for what it is.
Let me bring Michael in on this. Michael, I don't think we're asking too much of the State Department when we know 9/11 is so significant. This video aired on a very controversial, well, controversial by our standards, program. Don't you think security should have been beefed up just a little bit?
Short answer is yes, but what this also signals to me is that 11 years after 9/11, the administration still does not understand what causes terrorism. Their knee-jerk reaction is to assume that terrorism is the result of some sort of grievance. And that may be comforting to diplomats, because if it's caused by grievance, then you address the grievance and terrorism goes away. What they're ignoring is the fact that these people are motivated by an ideology with which we cannot compromise. And the last thing we should do is start to try to draw moral equivalency between those who killed our patriots, both the Marines and the ambassador and the diplomat, and those who protested the movie.
You know, we like to poke fun at academia all the time, especially as conservatives. But when we hear academics talk about how the West has had it too good, America's had it too good, we've got to equate things, the UN should be supreme. This is it, right? This is what happens when you put somebody in the White House who really has been steeped in this academic belief that America is bad.
You know, you put your finger right on it. During the Iraq War, the common complaint among academics is no one is listening to us. After all, shouldn't an expert on 18th century Ottoman history be consulted when it comes to current events in Baghdad? Well, these academics finally got their wish when they had Barack Obama come into the White House. He surrounded himself with his friends. He called his friends from the University of Chicago, from the Ivy League. And what we're now getting out is the academic vision of the Middle East. And what it's turned out to be is a complete and utter failure. We've got to start dealing with reality rather than the academic theories which are perpetrated upon our students.
You know, we're not just making fun of this stuff. I mean, when you see some of these academics and you see these YouTube videos, you see campus protests, you listen to some of these college professors, this is no joke. This is what happens when you put these people in charge.